the insulation environment. I know that it's when we talk about the insulation environment, you need to ensure the insulation process goes smoothly. So I think the most important factor to consider is the equipment room. So it really plays a crucial role in the normal use of the equipment. So I think with similar to the other communication devices, clean space is very necessary. So we have several precautions that we do recommend to take note for our partners. So um, here, the room should have adequate ventilation and dryness, and it should not be placed in an area that is direct to sunlight, too hot, cold, or humid. So the operating temperature should be within 0 to 40 degrees Celsius with a humidity of 0 to 90%. And yeah, so to maintain the cleanliness of the room, we need to minimize the potential sources of interference, all types of sundries. So, I mean, those miscellaneous items such as screws, batteries, or any small items, they are not allowed to place within. And we do avoid installing in areas with a lot of vibration, dust, water, and oil contact. And as much as possible, stay away from radio and cell phone antennas, any electric welding machine, or any high frequency machines. And you need to provide a reliable ground wire system, and the impedance to the ground must be less than or equal to 3 ohms. The equipment grounding should comply with the grounding standards outlined in this notice and should be grounded separately and thoroughly. So one important factor also is we need to check whether the power supply is within the range of 100 to 240 volts. This is to prevent abnormal operation of the equipment. So on any fluctuations or sudden changes on the power supply must be avoided. So power supply requirement, it is that operates within 100 to 240 volts with a frequency of 50 to 60 hertz. Power supply of the equipment should be installed independently of the power supply, so of any other equipment. This is to prevent power interruptions. And of course, you must install UPS, is stabilized power supply. So this is to prevent any power instability of the power grid. So, with regards to wiring, we all know that the quality of the call is directly impacted by the cabling used in the system. So, thus, this is very highly significant for the installation. And so, before wiring, you need to make sure that the standard cabinet must have a minimum installation distance of 1 U from other equipment. This is to allow for heat dissipation. And when wiring, you need to make sure that you have to switch off the system. So then turn it back on. So wiring errors may cause the system to malfunctions, right? So you need to um avoid the AC noise interference and do not connect the telephone in line parallel with with the insulation, and of course the computer should share the same power socket. So if this is close to the lines, it should be insulated. So at present we recommend to use the shielded twisted pair or use a conductive adhesive tape. When performing with a high voltage protection, it is necessary to install a lighting protection distribution. So we have our patch panel 2400 or the patch panel 4800. So as much as possible, should use about 20 cm from the panel distribution. Then check at all times the external and extension lines. So you know you need to have to know the access to analog external lines, right? So the PSTN and also the external lines. So just make sure that The line transfer, the external port of the equipment to other terminals need to be completely tested. And all other external devices such as dialers, it is recommended not to use any of those. Then access to analog extension lines. So question is that if you have gone through a patch panel, so that's good because patch panel you just have to appropriately adjust the wiring, and you need to make sure that the distribution frame is standardized. And for the line connections, so as much as possible, there should be no junction box in the middle of the line. So we highly recommend not to use that one. Okay, so more on the wiring. So all cables, including the power network extension and the external cables, should be neatly placed and secured using a cable tile. And all lines shall be marked clearly so that in future maintenance and management, it would be much easier to do have some markings in the near future. So the maximum line for the analog phones from the RGW is 3 kilometers using a standard cable with a wire diameter of zero point 0.5 mm. So here, this is the distribution panel that I have mentioned on the previous slide. So here, this is the distribution panel, the patch panel 2400 or the patch panel for 800. So um yeah, so this is you need have to use a straight through cut cable, and say for example this is your RGW48. So here, just simply connect a straight through cable to this RG45. This is the line 1, 2, 3, 4, and this one for line 5 to 8, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this here are the RG11 ports on the right side of the patch panel. So you can simply connect these to FXS or FXO ports. So with regards to the grounding, yeah, so the telephone exchange must be reliably and consistently grounded, and we all know that the quality of the calls is greatly impacted by proper grounding. So another one is this is very important that as much as possible, the safety of the staff is of our utmost priority as well. With regards to the grounding rules, as I've mentioned in the first slides, the ground resistance must not be greater than 3 ohms. So in the event that the installation environment do not have a grounding conditions, so you can consider a suitable location. So you can simply use a steel nails. Either you can put that on the wall or on the ground, so it will serve as your temporary grounding source. Then here is the pin specifications for RGW48 and RGW96. So the first pin 1 and 2 is for refers to the first pair. The 3 and 6 is your second pair. 4 and 5 for your third pair, and 7 and 8 pins for your fourth pair. So yeah, this is how you do. You can do a DIY from RGW45 to RGW11. So let me share you a good installation. So these are some of the good installation photo that I can share. So these are one good example of a good installation. So here, yeah, this is what we mentioned. You can simply connect to the network, the one port, then the power adapter to the power source, power supply for RGW8 and RGW4, and you need to have a proper grounding, and of course connect this FXO port to the PSTN line and the FXS to the analog port. Then on the LED indicator, we need to check the status. So anything that is steady green for the power and STU, it means that it runs normally and the registration is successful. And for the one, it's blinking is the link is up. And of course, for um, analog trunk, for steady yellow, and for steady green, it's used for the analog extension is in use. Okay, so now how to connect with the administration computer. As much as possible, the admin's PC must be of the same network segment. So, for example, the RGW IP address is 192.168.2.1.8. You can set the PC computer so to 192.168.2.219 with the same network's admin mask, and you can save that, and you can readily access the device web GUI. So, how to find the IP address of the RGW gateway? So there are two methods. First is you can use simply use FXS port, then have the analog phone. Then you can simply dial hash hash to obtain the device IP address. Or you can use the Finder software. So you can readily run the software on your PC. Just simply double click and are allowed to run this application on your PC and click refresh, and the MAC address and IP address of the specific model will be displayed completely. So that way you can find the correct IP address of your RGW gateway. Okay, so let's proceed